Most job interviews force us to talk about negative things. And oftentimes we unintentionally hurt our chances of getting hired by getting lured into speaking negatively. Because we get asked questions about weaknesses, conflict, failures, job changes, etc. And all these items can bring up negative feelings for any job interview candidate. So in this video, we will tackle the why and focus on tips and tricks for how to practice using positivity, even when your interviewer tries to take you down that negative path. Let's dive in. And please remember the best way to support this channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. Item one, why? Interviewing is all about the science and psychology behind how our brain operates. So let's go high level and double down on the importance of why. Without this context, all the other items in this video simply will not carry as much weight. First of all, positivity is contagious. Second is perception. You'll be seen as more competent, resilient, capable, trustworthy, approachable, etc. Third is neurological impact. Positive speech can actually trigger the release of dopamine and serotonin. Next is the concept of the self fulfilling prophecy. The more you speak positively, the more positive you'll feel about yourself. And lastly, is just social norms. In most cultures, the power of positivity has been ingrained in us as something to aspire to since we were children. Item two is mindset. So, let's quickly double down on the self fulfilling prophecy. When you create a positive mindset, it will have a positive carryover effect before the interview. So, shaping your answers in a positive manner and practicing positive answers is all a part of the prep and practice process. And that will ultimately create better interview success. Item three, body language. So let's continue to build on our approach. Now that we understand the why and the mindset pieces, let's start making these items actionable. So, with body language, just a few items to keep in mind. Posture, we're going to have shoulders back and chin up. We're going to maintain really good eye contact, remembering to look away from time to time, and smiling. Remembering to smile during the interview is also important. All three of these items will increase the positive perception your interviewer has of you, and this needs to be translated into practice. So, at a minimum, use an AI practice interview tool that you can record and watch yourself back. And of course, practice with other people. Ask them to give you feedback about your body language specifically. Item four is pitch and tone. Your words need to be backed with a positive pitch and tone. Think upbeat, affirming, with a steady and clear pitch. That should definitely vary slightly up and down depending on your interviewer. And what you want to do is you want to try your best to mirror their pitch and tone as well. But we most of the time are just doing this naturally. Now, being monotone and low can show disinterest, and being too high or having too high of a pitch and tone can demonstrate some nervousness and lack of confidence. So find the balance. I really don't want you to overthink this item. I just wanted to address it. We do most of this naturally, but bring some awareness around your pitch and tone. Item five, yep, we got to get into the words. Now, there's a famous quote that says 93% of our communication is nonverbal. And while we need to recognize and acknowledge that our nonverbal communication plays a big role in a job interview, it's still an interview. So our audience should be practicing active listening and paying close attention to the words we use to determine whether or not we're a fit for the role. And there are so many items to take in consideration here, but let's focus on just a few. So let's start by identifying, well, what are the likely negative words that will pop up during an interview and how to pivot/change them? Some of the negative words, including ones I mentioned earlier: problem, conflict, weakness, failure, difficulty, criticism, to name a few. So, when restating or focusing on these words during the job interview, we simply change them. Problem can be rephrased as an opportunity or challenge. Weakness could be changed to an area of growth or improvement. Failure could be changed to a learning experience, etc. Next is using strong slash positive verbs: achieved, led, improved, innovated, implemented, for example. We can use positive adjectives: motivated, dedicated, efficient, proactive, innovative, collaborative. And this is to describe not only yourself and your work. And we can use nouns like results, impact, growth, success, leadership, contributions. And these will also demonstrate strong positivity. Now, these are just a few examples, and they shouldn't be forced. They should come out naturally, but you should also try to implement them as much as possible. And in addition, implement positive words that are used in the job description to also create not only positivity, but better alignment with your interviewer. And one last important data point: make sure that you focus on positive words that highlight collaboration. We are rarely successful on our own. It takes the effort of many to be successful in most scenarios. The last minor item that I want to mention is just speak from a place of confidence, not arrogance. We are always grateful and fortunate for our achievements, not boastful in our answers. Item 6: let's all bring it all together and talk a little bit about the how and a few scenarios we might face. So, now that we've covered those basics, let's start with maybe common questions. For example, you're asked why you left your last company. Now, your boss may have been terrible, the company may have been toxic, etc. Find the silver lining. What was that one item you did enjoy? There is something. Make that the focus area. For example, at XYZ Corp, I had an amazing opportunity to grow my analytical skills. And overall, I learned a ton in my time there. And now I'm so excited to be in front of this opportunity and speaking with you today. This will essentially shut down any negativity about your previous experience and allow your interviewer to move on. Now, with behavioral questions, the most important item to remember is that when we're asked to focus on the negative, we instantly address it, get past it, and focus on the positive. For example, if you get the question, tell me about a time you failed, you might say something like, at Lawn Care Inc., I had the opportunity to work on an exciting and challenging project to enhance the overall customer experience and satisfaction of our lawn care products and services. When conducting surveys, I missed an opportunity to get overall better engagement from our target audience. Let me tell you about the steps I took over the following 6-week period of time to overcome this item and gather even better results than we initially intended. This reframes a negative into a positive very quickly, and then you spend the rest of your answer talking about the positive actions and ultimately the results that have your interviewer feeling positively about you. Lastly, let's address hypothetical questions. Oftentimes, hypothetical questions will create a really tough scenario for you to problem solve. So, as we shape our answers to these questions, the key positive items to keep in mind are: one is kind of positive intent. We'll always assume, unless we're told otherwise, that people, the people involved intended on doing the right thing and somehow just got off track. So, for example, you get a question like, how would you handle a situation where a key stakeholder continues to miss deadlines? We might make the assumption that they have too many projects slash work on their plate, as opposed to them just being negligent. In addition, we'll spend our time focused on collaborative efforts where we seek to build that psychological safety, empathy, and create best practices to help this colleague achieve even better outcomes moving forward. This will also demonstrate how you handle tough scenarios, tough hypothetical scenarios with positivity. Item 7 is your questions. So you spend all this time making sure you do everything to be positive in the interview, and then oftentimes we forget to stay positive when we ask questions at the end of the interview. Remember, if your interviewer builds in the time and space to allow for your questions at the end, The best way is to keep it positive and use super positive words and focus on them. So, specifically, my favorite questions are: what do you love about the company? What do you love about your role? What do you love about your team? To the extent that you can share, what is the coolest project slash initiative you're working on right now? Imagine the last thing they do is talk about themselves and what they love and what is cool. How do you think they're going to be left feeling about you? Yep, they're going to love you and think you're cool. Trust me, this works. So, for our conclusion, remember positivity can make a huge difference in how you perform and how you're perceived in all interviews. Try these positivity techniques in your next interview and share your experiences in the comment below. Thank you so much. I hope this helps.